Hey guys, I'm going to read a book since we're talking about America, and this one is called A is for America. And it's got, as you can see on the front, it has the Statue of Liberty on it. And I don't know if you guys know this or not, but you can actually go and visit the Statue of Liberty, and you can actually walk up and see how that little boy is standing up there and poking out of her crown. You can actually go, there's tons of stairs, but you can actually walk up and do what he's doing, poke your head out and look out of her crown. I've never been to see the Statue of Liberty in New York Harbor, but I would love to. All right, here we go. In the beginning, we see a wonderful map of the United States of America. If you guys can see that or not. There we go. The United States where we live and we experience our freedom. There's Tennessee where we live. Okay, here we go. And these are some symbols of the United States. All right, at the beginning we see the United States of America was formed in 1776 out of 13 colonies that fought for independence from Great Britain. Compared to many nations around the world, the United States is relatively young. It is neither the largest country in the world nor the most populous. But in so many ways, the United States of America is the most influential nation on earth, especially in its belief in democracy. The idea that a government should be of the people, by the people, and for the people. Go tell Matt, Ian, and Madison, and Bo, and Griffin, Quinn, and Christian, and everyone you know. Tell Andy, Bryson, Mason, Kirby, Addison, and Erica. Shout it from the highest hill that A is for America. This book takes the letters of the alphabet and spells with it. It's pretty neat. Now we come to the letter B. The Battle of Bunker Hill was actually won by the British. But the American patriots fought so bravely that the battle became a rallying cry for the rest of the American Revolution. The Liberty Bell can be found in Philadelphia. It was rung in 1776 to announce a public reading of the Declaration of Independence. The Liberty Bell hasn't been rung since 1846 when the bell cracked. And then here is the Liberty Bell. And it did crack. B can be for Boston and the Battle of Bunker Hill, and breaking from the British who ruled here until a band of brave believers behind a boisterous yell brought forth a brand new nation and banged the Liberty Bell. When you see the Liberty Bell now, there's a crack in it. But it is a symbol of the United States. C is for the cities that reach into the blue, like Chicago, Cleveland, Charlotte, and Cincinnati do. And it's for the Constitution that guides us still today, written for we the people and to find a better way. Cities in the United States come in all sizes and personalities. Each has its own habits and traditions. Charleston, South Carolina is very different from Cheyenne, Wyoming, but they are both very American. The Constitution is a set of ideas and laws that gave birth to the United States of America. It was written in 1787, and it very much guides our nation today. Many other nations have used the American Constitution as an instruction book for their own governments. That's pretty neat to think about too, that they've looked at what we've done, other countries have looked at what we've done to guide what they do. Detroit is in Michigan, a northern state. Dallas is in Texas, on here. Denver is in Colorado, a western state. Dover is in Delaware, an eastern state. There are 2 Dakotas in the United States, North Dakota and South Dakota. Dakota is the Sioux Indian Italian word for friend. D for Detroit and its shiny automobiles. It's called the Motor City, and it put the world on wheels. It's Dallas and it's Denver and Dover, Delaware. It's the Dakotas in December when snow is in the air. E, such pretty paintings. E is the elegant eagle. See, an eagle is a symbol of the United States. E is the elegant eagle soaring above the hill in the ever-flowing Everglades where egrets eat their fill. E is an endless echo in the Grand Canyon. We talked about the Grand Canyon, the big canyon. See the canyon. We talked about that at dawn. And Eureka, it's Thomas Edison turning the light bulb on. The bald eagle is a symbol of the United States. Egrets, that's a picture of an egret right there, are tall, slender birds that live in the swamps of Florida, better known as the Everglades. While Thomas Edison was a brilliant man who invented many things, the light bulb wasn't one of them. While he's given credit for the invention, he actually improved on the design of others. We celebrate Independence Day on July 4th every year. You know how we have fireworks and parades and all those good things, and we decorate everything in red, white, and blue. Well, that's called Independence Day, and that's when we celebrate our country's freedom, the birth of America. It says the fireworks we display remind us of the rocket's red glare mentioned in our national anthem, the Star Spangled Banner. Phoenix, Arizona is the largest capital city in the United States. Montpelier, Vermont is the smallest capital city. F is for the fireworks that fly on the 4th from Fort Worth in the south to Fargo in the north. F is for 50 fluttering flags and 50 license plates. 50 fine state capitals in 50 United States. And remember, we have 50 states in the United States. And remember that, do you remember how many stars that we have in here? Okay, there's going to be 50 stars, and they represent your 50 states. Do you know how many stripes is on your flag? You're going to have 13 stripes. What does that remind you of, the number 13? That reminds you of your 13 colonies that we began the United States with, the 13 colonies. So you have 13 stripes on your flag. G is for gold rush that swept the Golden State and gave us California with its grand Golden Gate. And for Alaska's glaciers that glisten on the coast and the gushing of a geyser that hovers like a ghost. It says there's gold in them hills. And there it is. The name California came from an old Spanish story about an island of gold. The Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco is actually painted orange, but it looks golden in the sunlight. Old Faithful, we talked about Old Faithful. Remember the geyser that spouted up water at Yellowstone National Park? Remember that? It is perhaps the world's most famous geyser. It erupts about 20 times every day. And let's see, I believe there's the geyser right there. Just a small little picture in the corner, but that's your G word. But yes, we did talk about that geyser. Ernest Hemingway, we're on H. Ernest Hemingway is remembered as one of the greatest writers in American history. His stories were filled with adventure. The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn was written by Mark Twain. It's about an orphan boy living along the Mississippi River in the 1800s. Henry Ford, now he's an important man in American history. He didn't invent the automobile, but his way of building them was so successful, many people believe he did. Thus, if you remember, a lot of you've heard of the Ford vehicle. Fords and Chevys, right? Well, it says he didn't invent the automobile, but they accredit him for being so successful. They believe he did, so I think that's why they named the Ford vehicle after him. says H stands for Hemingway and Huckleberry Finn, Hydroelectric Hoover Dam, and so many Holiday Inns. Hot dogs in Hawaii, Henry Ford and his cars, heading home on Halloween with chocolate Hershey bars. There's just a lot of American things there. I is indeed important. How America came to be. It's the idea that an individual can insist on being free. And I is for immigration, and the immigrants who came from Italy, Ireland, or India were all Americans, all the same. See? People head over, and look, what's one of the first things that they see when they head over? They come from another country, when they're immigrants. Remember, immigrants is someone who comes from another country and they're moving to the United States. Look, when they would sail over, they would see the Statue of Liberty, and it would remind them of the freedom that once you come to America, you're going to experience is the freedom of America, and that Statue of Liberty is the freedom. Most early settlers who came to the United States were looking for some kind of freedom to work, worship, or live as they wish. Many immigrants who came to America made their first stop at Ellis Island, New York, where they were allowed into the United States to begin their new lives. The Statue of Liberty has become a symbol of freedom to people all over the world. So that's a symbol of freedom right here. Lady Liberty stands in New York Harbor. So where is it? It's in New York Harbor. Remember you learned the word harbor last week? Okay, it's in New York Harbor. Jamestown, Virginia, we're on J. Jamestown, Virginia was one of the first permanent settlements in America. We've learned about Jamestown, right? It was a colonial settlement. It says Thomas Jefferson is remembered as one of the greatest Americans in history. He was a patriot, philosopher, a statesman, a farmer, a musician, a diplomat, and an architect. Wyoming was home to Chief Washakie, a Shoshone chief who became the first Native American buried with full U.S. military honors. In jazz, musicians are free to make up the music as they go along. This improvisational music most likely got its start in New Orleans. So basically, the musicians make up the music as they go along. Kind of they improvise. But there is Jamestown right here. J and Jamestown. From Jamestown to James Monroe, we need the letter J. If not for Thomas Jefferson, where would we be today? It's Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and the jiggle that Jello has. It's a jam session jumping with the music we call jazz. K, Kitty Hawk in Kansas and Kodiak Bears, King Kamehameha, Kellogg's Rice Krispie Squares. K is for two kinds of king, George III, who was defeated, and Martin Luther Jr., whom our troubled nation needed. See, Martin Luther King Jr. Kitty Hawk, North Carolina is where Orville and Wilbur Wright flew the very first airplane. The first flight took place December 17th, 1903 and lasted 12 seconds. King Kamehameha was the ruler of Hawaii more than 100 years before Hawaii became a state. The birthday of civil rights leader Martin Luther King Jr. was established as a national holiday in 1983. All right, so, yes, and there were, in Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, you did have the guys who flew the first airplane in 1903, and it only lasted for 12 seconds. But they were learning how to fly, so learning how to make an airplane work. So far we made it to K, and we're going to keep working on going through an American alphabet. We'll read more on that tomorrow. See you guys later.